Hello, my darlings. It's how lovely to
Hello.
see so many lovely faces. Liz, hi, darling. How are you? Lovely to see you. Rosie, nice to see you again. Biddy, hello, sweetheart. Amanda, hi, lovely to see you again. Barbara, hello. And we've got Jenny and we've got Caroline. And so I'm going to be letting people in the room. Let me just click on admit, share screen, audience window, share. Now, can you see my slides? Yeah, great. And can you see only my slides and not the rest of my computer? Great. Hooray for Zoom, because it doesn't always get that right. So thank you. So that is exactly how I intended it to be. So, yep, that is my intro slide. And here is a little bit about me for anybody that I haven't met before, which maybe it's one or two of you. So I'm Sue. I live in Cardiff. You may detect a slight Welsh accent. I'm 52 years old and I'm mum to two teens and got a lovely hubby. I'm a lover of life. There's a motorbike in that picture. That's me on the island of Kefalonia. I spend 4 to 6 weeks every year alone on the island of Kefalonia, alone when I can anyway, just cracking on with some work, swimming in the sea and going back to my passion of two wheels. So you might occasionally see a picture of me riding a motorbike. I don't ride anymore, and it's too dangerous in this country, in my opinion. But when I'm in Kefalonia and it's just me and the open road, I do love to get back on a motorbike. So it's all about freedom for me. And I didn't have freedom before because, well, one, I was in a full-time job, but more importantly, I didn't feel free in my body to enjoy the things that I really loved. My body was holding me back significantly, not just my weight, but my various aspects of my health. We'll come to that. But just a little bit of a background. So I also lead choirs. So I love singing. I love getting people singing in the community. And I haven't always been a WildFit coach. I was in medical physics. I was a chartered software engineer. You don't really need to know that, but what's significant here is that the health transformation that I'm going to tell you about changed my life so much that I am now a full-time self-employed health coach certified by WildFit. And I've just been told a couple of weeks ago that I'm a master WildFit coach. I'm one of only 11 in the world. So that was a great honor to receive that award. And thank you very much, everybody. Yeah, it feels really wonderful to have been recognized for my contribution. I've coached 160 people through this program with incredible success rate, and everybody's reporting feeling, healthier, more energy, more body confidence. And you'll hear this a lot in my language. It's not about your weight. I know you think it is, many of you, but it's not about your weight. I thought it was, and I thought that the only thing I needed to solve in my life was my weight. And if I could just solve that, everything would be perfect. But I hadn't realized, and I did fix my weight, 2 dress sizes down. But what was more significant for me was I hadn't realized how much my health was holding me back. Thought I was healthy and fit, and I was reasonably, but I was stiff and achy. I was stiff and achy, suffering with stiff joints and digestive discomfort, but I was obsessed with losing weight. So I'm here to tell you that, weight loss is possible. It's a side effect of eating for health. So we're going to get you to forget about losing weight and focusing on eating for health. So I'll give you a little bit more about my story, and then we're going to talk about you, your health concerns, and anything that's coming up for you about your relationship with food. Because we're going to start with the premise that we are what we eat. We're just going to start there. And if anybody doubts that, book a chat with me. But we're going to start with that we know it, because I think most of you, we are starting to wake up. Nutritional scientists are starting to understand that absolutely the kind of food we eat is responsible for much of our health, because now with what we know about the gut microbiome and managing our blood sugars, it's not about calories anymore. It's about the quality of the food we eat. So we're going to talk about your relationship with food and how that impacts on your health, your vitality, your energy, as well as your body confidence and your own identity. That was setting intentions for 2024. That was really from my January workshop, but this is more the workbook that I've given you is a new workbook. And so it's going to be, setting intentions, but some simple practical steps that you can making a commitment to yourself to take some simple steps. So this was me before. I was always a party girl. I was always happy. I was always the life and soul of the party, but I was always busy. I've always been busy. It could be that I've got an ADHD style brain, that I like to be busy. I like to be on to the next thing. And so cooking and food prep was a low priority for me, certainly before I had a family. And so what would, the party and the fun and the eating for convenience, plus enjoying my holidays to the full, took its toll on me. And yes, there was weight gain, and I was never happy with how I looked in photographs. And this is just one picture of 2018, my mum and dad's golden wedding anniversary. And I was just searching frantically for an outfit to wear that was cool and comfortable because it was a hot day. But that, but there was flattering. And I have to say, I could never find anything flattering to wear. And so it made me feel uncomfortable in my body. And didn't realize until years later how exhausted I was, feeling bloated, stiff and achy. Didn't realize, because I just thought that was normal. And so now that I've come through that, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did that, what a transformation. And looking back, I can see that I was tired all the time, and I was, physically struggling with my energy. So I had a revelation 3 to 4 years ago that actually it was not my fault that I was being held back with all those things, but it was the fault of the food industry. And it's the food industry that is keeping us hooked on convenience foods, junk foods, stuff with added sugar, so-called health foods. Buy this, buy that. It's got vitamins in it, it's got fiber, it's low fat, and it's all utter rubbish. So we're now starting to understand that it's this that is our underlying problem, right? So who's heard scientists talking about the gut microbiome? Who's heard? Yeah, so most of us have heard the gut microbiome. And what we know now, quite recently, is that ultra processed foods, which is everything you see in that picture, is what's keeping us unwell, because the gut microbiome does not like ultra processed foods. The gut microbiome likes natural foods. So the revelation that I had when I discovered the program that I've mentioned to you, the WildFit 90-day challenge, the revelation that I had was that, oh my goodness, when you can figure out how to eat in a more natural way, forget dieting and calorie counting and low fat this and health products and supplements and meal replacements, but you learn to eat in a more natural way, more aligned with the way human beings evolved, just eating sort of, you could call it hunter-gatherer style, you could call it farmer's market. Yeah, hear what I'm saying. Let's just think natural. It turns out that is exactly what we need to put us in optimal health. So that is my underlying principle in everything I coach now. If it's more energy you're looking for, the answer is in natural eating. If it's overcoming cravings you're looking for, the answer is in natural eating. If it's stiff joints, digestive disorders, weight gain, the answer is in natural eating. So that is the theme that is going to run right through all these workshops, whether it's about feeling empowered, whether it's about emotional attachment to food, whether it's about eating for more energy, whatever the theme is, that underlying concept is let's learn to eat more natural. And I can tell you from experience of working with 160 clients, plus not to mention the 300,000 people who've been through WildFit, it's not a gimmick. It's not a fad. It's not a product. It's not a book. It's just a re-education about how to do this, how to get back to eating in a more natural way. Does that sound reasonable, ladies? I think we are all female in the room. Yeah, so it sounds reasonable, right? But of course, the problem is, how do we do that, right? How on earth do we do that when we're all so busy? When we're also we're cooked. A lot of people come to me saying they feel they're addicted to sugar or they're addicted to carbs. And it's not a character defect, my darlings. It's the food industry, right? It's them. So if we can learn how to break free from that, and I'm not saying be a purist. There's a nice cup of coffee in Costa. Of course I embrace that. And there's ultra processed in that because I like a coconut milk, which is ultra processed, but I choose to have that consciously. But if we can break free from that as a crutch, as our norm, then we can start to see radical improvements very quickly. Just a little, this is me now. So when I did the 90-day challenge going back 3.5 years ago, it was 90 days. It was a 3-month transformation. At the end of that transformation, I noticed that my joint pain and stiffness had gone. It wasn't until the Christmas that I noticed my acid reflux had gone, because I would normally be taking acid reflux medication, right? And I don't suffer with that anymore. So the number of different medicines I don't need to take anymore. My allergies improved, my cravings reduced, daytime tiredness is a thing of the past now. There is no such thing as the afternoon slump for me anymore, unless I've been eating off plan, which I choose to do sometimes. So I know how to bring these symptoms back, right? Which feels empowered. I can bring them back. I can eat what I like. And if I choose, the foods from the other photo, I can bring these things back but not easily. I would have to eat off plan for several days in a row before I got the symptoms back that I had before. So let's come to you, my darlings, and please do feel free to come on the microphones or add into the chat, whatever you're comfortable to do, and have a look in your workbooks. What is it for you? What are your main health concerns? And we are coming from the premise that food is almost certainly underlying some of these. Not everything. Some things are genetic, some things are viral, some things, you just can't get away from. But to a great extent, the disorders, the discomforts, the problems in your body in some way related to food. So what is it for you? Who wants to share? Is it weight gain? Is it energy? Is it digestive discomfort? Is it sleep? Absolutely, sleep and food are completely related. Is it the symptoms of perimenopause, postmenopause, the hot flushes, the night sweats, the brain fog? Yeah, Dagmar. Anybody else feeling those things? Almost all of the above, Rosie? Yeah. And who's concerned about longevity? Donna's all of the above. Longevity, Barbara, Dagmar, yeah. So Biddy. So for me, longevity was the most important thing to me, was to live long and healthy. But back then, you would think that the most important thing to me was my weight, because I was on diets, and diets were not promising me longevity. They weren't even promising me weight loss. They were just promising me misery, basically. But longevity has always been really important to me. And so, yeah, Amanda, energy, heart, blood health, joint health, all related to wanting to live longer, healthier, happier. Yeah, Karen, joint stiffness, lack of energy. So there's something in there for all of us, isn't there? And what do you think holds you back? Aside from the things that you can't control, what do you think holds you back? Knowing what you know about food and the gut microbiome and eating for health, and we know that we're most meant to be eating lots and lots of plants. And that doesn't mean vegan, everybody. It means omnivore, but with an emphasis on good, fresh fruit and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some meat, some fish, some eggs. Not everybody's going to eat meat. Not everyone's going to eat fish. I appreciate that. But knowing what you know, tell me, what do you think holds you back from doing that? Boredom, bored of routine, wanting variety, everything on this list, convenience, sugar addiction. Jenny says laziness. It's not just you, Jenny. Don't feel bad about that. Time, teenagers. Oh my goodness, yeah, our families. Self-sabotage is a key one, isn't it? And who knows what that's all about. And we can do some deep work on that. If we had longer, we could do some deep work on self-sabotage, but that's probably a really good topic for another talk. Thanks for that, Biddy. Confusion about how we're meant to be eating. Psychological attitudes towards food. Yeah, it's a deep old subject, this, isn't it? So we're going to talk a little bit about emotional eating. I'm going to try and speed up so I can fit it all in. Please don't feel overwhelmed. Because of my ADHD, I always put too much into the workshops. So just let it wash over you and just take what you need from this, okay? So I'll pause for breath, my darlings. I'll pause for a little sip of my tea. Food is a distraction. Yeah, we're using food to take us away from the challenges that we have in our lives, in our day. So many reasons. Yeah, self-soothing. So just quickly, how are these things? How is this way of eating? How is this slight, less than ideal relationship with food impacting on us? We've talked about our health concerns. How do those things impact on our daily lives? On your personal life? Yeah, feeling frustrated, not being able to do the things you want to do. Lack of energy for your family. Especially I hear a lot from those who have grandchildren. It's, oh, I really wanted to play with the grandchild. I want to be able to get down on the floor and play with the toys or kick a ball, but it's my energy or my mobility that is just holding me back from that. Waiting for something to improve. Who resonates with that? One day things will get better, but I'm going to give you the starting point today to actually take control of this and make a difference. Wanting more out of life, wanting more joy. And for those of you who are either employed or got your own business, whatever that is for you, how does it affect your work? How does it affect you showing up as your best, most productive self? With good energy, good motivation, or does it leave you reaching for another coffee every time? So yeah, a bit of a lack of confidence and lack of sparkle. I hear you. That's exactly how I felt. Anybody else resonating with this? Yeah, yeah. So let's look on the positive side and let's set our intentions, because this is within your control. And this is the start. So if you could become the most vibrant, healthiest version of you, good energy, hooray! Oh, Barbara says, since I've been doing WellFit, I'm getting better feedback from my clients. Oh, that's a lovely one, Barbara. Barbara is a coach. Do you want to share what you do, Barbara? Do you want to come on the microphone and say hello?
Hi. I'm not really a coach. I'm a counsellor of families and couples. So yeah, that's what I do, and I've been doing it for about 35 years. So, but I have noticed, and I've noticed that this brain fog problem has gone down quite a lot, and that's a wonderful thing for me. So I think I can be more present. It's a funny thing to say. I wouldn't have believed it, but that's what I'm actually noticing.
That is lovely, isn't it? The brain fog. Anybody else notice that brain fog, that kind of mushy, kind of can't think quite clearly, can't remember names, can't remember why you actually entered a room, can't remember, especially if you're in a conversation with somebody you've known for a long time, you're like, oh my God, I can't remember their name, or, so that clarity. And as Barbara has just testified, I didn't pay Barbara to be here, by the way, everybody. Thank you for that testimony to eating better, improving brain fog. Absolutely. We've had so many reports of improved eating leading to more clarity, more focus, improved mood, and even people reducing the symptoms of their depression and mental health improving. We've had a lot of that, and we now know why that is. There's lots of reasons. It's partly feeling more empowered, actually taking positive steps. You're on this, you put yourself on this positive spiral upwards of self-empowerment and noticing the benefits of that, and that sends you on a journey upwards. But also we know that when we feed our gut microbiome really well, that has a direct link with our mental health and our mood. Isn't that a wonderful thing? So we just need to start prioritizing, feeding the body well. Yoga Nidra is very effective for brain fog. Oh, lovely. And word searching post-menopause. Yeah. Anything that brings in conscious awareness, as well as conscious awareness around your food. And that's why we're here. So thank you for that, Barbara. Let us continue. Is anybody tempted to go on a diet? Has anybody been tempted recently? Please don't think I'm judging, Rosie. We're all looking for the solution, aren't we? We are all looking for the solution, and I was for many years. So there's a new kind of fad, and it's called anti-diet, and I am on that bandwagon, everybody. So I would urge you to reconsider before you decide to do the next diet, because here's a slide which shows you my opinion on it. Dieting is not the answer, because it's unsustainable. It tends to be short term. It's follow this plan. It goes against everything you want to do. It requires so much willpower that it makes it hard to stick to. It ignores all the psychological things that we've already talked about. It makes you feel guilty and like you're a failure, because, you know, if you haven't weighed in and lost 2 pounds that week, well, you're on a spiral downwards, aren't you? And that's exactly how I felt. It was miserable. I didn't enjoy the food, and I could go on and on and on. But that's not to say that some people don't get success. Mostly it's short term. Would you agree? Caroline, you did try, you lost 3 stone, but it was so hard, took years, and now it's all back on. Ah, my heart goes out to you, lovely. Yeah, it's that is the story that I hear from so many people. Rosie, I've got to a point in life where I've been a serial dieter for so long that I have no longer have the motivation to do another diet. That's exactly how I felt too. You name it, I did it. And not even just dieting, there were more drastic measures than that as well, involving weight loss pills, starvation, various other drastic measures that never worked. And 99% of people put the weight back on. And that is because, as we all understand here, it's got to be a long-term change. And the diets all say, oh, this is a way of life, it's a long-term change. Yeah, if you can stick to it, it's not willpower that's going to make this a long-term change. It's understanding why, finding the motivation, finding something that feels enjoyable, that really can become embedded. And here's what it is on the program that I coach, that Barbara's been through. And that is, when you get to a place where you are eating mostly for health and nutrition, just on a little bit of a boot camp, eating for health, each week where you get closer and closer to eating better and better, feeding the gut microbiome, managing your blood sugars, eating for nutrition, eating for energy, you feel better, you feel it. So there's a tangible difference in the way you feel. And then when you reflect on what it was you did, oh, well, that's interesting. I just added in this good, healthy foods. I feel so much better. You'll want to do it forever. You'll make a way. And that, coupled with the how-to, making it easy, simple, doable, and not onerous and laborious, that's when it's become something that you can do for the rest of your life and want to do for the rest of your life, rather than feel that you have to. So there's a huge difference. Right, let us move on. Another thing that holds us back, some people, you mentioned variety. That turns out that's one of the 6 human hungers. Variety hunger. We're designed to seek variety in our foods. We started off getting you all drinking, getting a glass of water. Thirst, one of the key human hungers. We often think we're hungry. Oh, what can I have? Sweet cravings. You're thirsty. I know this. It's been an absolute revelation. Low blood sugar hunger, that one where it's halfway through the afternoon, or you just got in from work and it's like, what to eat now? And you're angry. That's low blood sugar hunger. Who knew that? It doesn't mean you necessarily got diabetes. It just means that blood sugar control is a little bit erratic because of the kinds of foods you're eating at the moment, namely in particular things that contain sugar and things that are refined, like the floury, highly refined carby things, right? They're keeping your blood sugars erratic, and we get that very angry feeling. Empty stomach hunger, when you're properly nourished, it is possible to have an empty stomach and not be hungry. Interesting one, that we can go without food when we're properly nourished, and it's okay. But a lot of us think, oh, my stomach's empty, I need to eat. I need to fill it, because we're so used to filling our tummies all the time. Emotional hunger, we've talked about a lot. And then nutritional hunger, if you like, is the one true hunger, which is what's left when we've solved all the others. So on the program that I coach, we deal with every single one of those hungers. Nutritional hunger we deal with early on. And so when that's taken care of, and when your thirst hunger is taken care of, and when your low blood sugar hunger is taken care of, and we get you eating plenty of variety, all that's left is for you to understand the emotional relationship with food. And then when we walk you through that, then you're completely empowered. So 6 human hungers in a nutshell, but I do have a guide on that. I think it's on my website. Anyway, you'll see it in my post coming up. Remind me if you don't. 6 human hungers. Okay, it's a really interesting one. So I'm going to skip through quite quickly on emotional hunger, because I would love you to reflect on this in your workbooks a little bit more when you've got the time. Let me just see how many slides I've got and how much time I've got. Yeah, I'm going to just whiz through here. Pick a food that you go to for non-nutritional reasons. It could be maybe pick a food rather than wine, but it could be a takeaway, it could be chocolate, it could be convenience fish and chips, it could be biscuits and cakes in the office. Just pick one particular food and think about when you overindulge on that food. So you wanted a takeaway for convenience, but actually by the time you've eaten it, oh, how does that feel in your body? Yeah, and you kind of wish you hadn't had it sometimes. Or you thought, well, I can have a biscuit. I can be empowered to have a few biscuits. But then you end up eating the whole packet and feeling like, how do you feel then? Well, apart from the guilt, which I'm trying to lose, I'm trying to help you ease you out of guilt. But how does it feel in your body? You end up feeling tired later on, right? Because you've had a big sugar overload, and then it takes its toll later on. Or you've indulged on a night out, or a bottomless brunch or something like that, and it feels like a good idea at the time, yeah, but how does it feel? So we're looking at the after effects of choosing the more indulgent things. And maybe, did we choose consciously, or did we just choose mindlessly? So have a little think about that, and what are the reasons behind that? So Donna says chocolate and a Saturday night takeaway are your go-tos. So what are the reasons behind choosing chocolate? Are you choosing it for nutritional reasons? Probably not. Maybe if you were choosing the high quality dark chocolate, but generally speaking, these are the reasons behind our eating that aren't nutritional reasons. So what is it for you? Have a think, make a note in your book. Is it boredom, comfort? Yeah, craving driven. Yeah, habit, treat, rewards, treat. Yeah, you want to treat yourself, right? So when you choose chocolate, you do it because you want to treat yourself. What emotional need is it that you're trying to fulfill? Right? So is it that what are you low on? If you want to treat yourself, what are you low on? Could it be that you're low on self-care? Could it be that you're not feeling that satisfaction with the activities that you're doing, with the lifestyle you have? Maybe you're low on self-care in the way of that connection with other humans in your life. Maybe you're low on joy, low on fun. maybe, and you know, who has a completely satisfied emotional life, right? Nobody. But what it can do is reaching for that chocolate or going, I can't be asked, I'm going to have a takeaway. It can be a pointer to something important that's missing in our lives. It can be really interesting and helpful as a pointer. So next time you find yourself going for that convenience or that sweet treat, whatever it is, or that takeaway, just take a moment, have a glass of water, maybe do a little bit of breathing, maybe just sit there with your eyes closed, maybe get your journal out and ask yourself, what is it for me? Why am I reaching for this? Because there could be, not always, sometimes you just want it, but there could be something that is pointing towards a lack, an emotional void somewhere. So my next slide, without trying to fix your entire emotional life in one slide, have a think about what else you could do for yourself to fulfill that emotional need. What could you do that's a treat? What could you do that you don't often do that's a treat? Maybe I've got a picture there of a beautiful bath with petals in and essential oils and candles, some kind of indulgent treat. I don't want you to say, I can't have the chocolate. Put that on the back burner, put the chocolate on the side and say, what else could I do that this chocolate is telling me that I need? Self-care is definitely missing, Liz. Oh, I'm glad that's a lovely, empowering revelation. Thank you. So self-care, what does self-care look like to you? And who's a stranger to self-care? Who's like, what? What do you mean self-care? Anybody? Here's a few ideas to get you started. Yeah, Biddy, just a few ideas. These are just my ideas. Painting, crafting, more time with pets. You know, I recently got 2 cats. I still got mild allergies, not too bad, but they're a compromise because those cats give me a dopamine hit. Stroking those cats brings me so much joy and pleasure. I don't think the cats love me, but I love them, and that feels wonderful. Going out for a walk when we get the opportunity, you know, if it's dry at all, get out there, right? Because we're not getting a lot of dry weather. Playing a game, that's always my go-to thing. Who will play a game with me? Phoning a friend, reading a book. You get the idea. So what I'm saying is, what I'm suggesting is, instead of denying yourself the chocolate, the takeaway, the whatever, just go, put that on hold a second while I think this through. What else could I do to meet this emotional need? Okay, so give that some thought. And then the next thing is, what healthy swaps could you make? So instead of a takeaway, could you possibly do a chicken stir fry, which would feel nice and like a Chinese takeaway, you know? And that's not, you wait an hour for a takeaway, don't you? In that hour, you could make 2. So what healthy swaps could you make? So if it's chocolate bar, put the chocolate bar there, you're allowed it. Could you have a bowl of fruit? And then the chocolate bar if you still want it. Does that make sense? What could you have as well? It's more about adding in the good stuff than it is depriving you of the things you think you need. When you add in more of the good stuff first, the self-care and the good foods, the good wholesome foods, which can be a lot of fun. Look how brightly colored these pictures are of food, yeah? Make them fun. Then you start to notice that you don't need the junky stuff so much anymore. And especially if you don't deny yourself it, but you then go and have it anyway. So you say, right, I've had my bowl of fruit. I've been for a walk. I feel quite good now. Do I still want the chocolate bar? Well, let's see. Taste it and see how it then feels. Does it feel like you need it? Is it then doing anything for you? Because if you put it to the test when you're properly nourished, then there's going to be real truth in that chocolate experience. Does that make sense, ladies? We do a lot of this, and I've got another masterclass which is free on my website called Emotional Eating. So we'd spend a whole hour going into this. So if you were to put that into practice, and I challenge you to go away and do that, what will that look like to you? How will that feel to you? How will it taste to you? Just imagine that experience of making those healthy swaps, of feeling empowered, of thinking it through, of taking that time to put in some self-care. And how will you feel about yourself? How will you feel in your body when you do that? And what example are you setting to your kids or your partner or your family or your friends or your mum? What example will you be setting if you take those steps to feel more empowered? So let's have a look. I'm going to go to some simple steps that you can take right away. And then I'm going to ask you to come on the microphones and share what you think you could apply very, very easily. So we've talked about drinking more water. Who's up for that? Who's up for drinking more water? Yay, well done. Excellent. Who's up for adding in more of the good stuff, right? Adding in fruit, yeah. Adding in a few extra veg, and thinking about adding in those healthy proteins that I talked about as well. Adding in more of the good stuff. Right, great. Who's up for taking a moment and tuning into the true experience of that food, whether it's the good stuff or the junkier stuff, the supportive or the unsupportive, in a guilt-free way, but tuning into how that really feels when we do it? Who's up for that challenge? Yay, fantastic. And you don't have to do all of these, by the way. That would be very, very, that would be a long list of things. Just pick one or two and come back to it next week to pick a third, yeah? Reflecting. So whenever you have an experience that you feel is less than ideal, so you've overeaten or you've had a takeaway, it was desperation, or you didn't think about it, but you went for the chocolate and the sweets or the ice cream, and now you wish you hadn't. Lift the guilt and go, interesting. How did I do? How do I feel about that? Well, what would I do differently next time? Who feels that they can have a go at doing that? Non-judgmental review. Yeah, non-judgmental review. That's a little bit more advanced, but start thinking about that idea, okay? And then healthy swaps. So I haven't gone deeply into healthy swaps, but who's in my Eat Well, Feel Great, Live Life to the Full free group? If you're not, go ahead and join. Any of these links I can share with you after. In fact, in the workbook at the end, I think all these links are in the workbook at the end. So if you've got the digital copy of the workbook, you can just click and it'll open up. So join my free group, and in there we'd share in healthy swaps and tips and that kind of thing all the time. So healthy swaps. So there's 5 things. And in the workbook, I think there's another 9. So I challenge you to just pick what's right for you going forward. And if you would like accountability, join the free group and say what you're going to do and what you're going to accept as your little challenge, and we can hold you accountable and you can check in with us next week. So that is the self-empowered way, okay? And I hope that you now feel like you've got more, a little bit of a starter. Would anybody like to share? Let me just stop screen share. Who would like to share what they're going to do, what their intentions are going forward? Come on the microphones. Feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat.
I think, hello, everybody.
Hi, Liz.
Just pausing for a moment and really thinking about why I'm eating a particular thing is just brilliant. I love that. So I'm definitely going to do that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm delighted. A lot of people resonating with that. Just pausing, yeah? Because so often it's just eating out of habit, isn't it? Just quick go-tos, no decision. We're passing the Greggs, or and we don't even think. It's just pausing and thinking, what do I want from this food experience? Nice one. Who else would like to share? Amanda says, add in more veg, but it's an extra job. Yes, it is an extra job. However, when you get the hang of it, it's quick and easy. And I can share with you lots of quick and easy strategies. Let me give you a couple now. So adding an extra veg could be, it could be just, so you're cooking dinner, you've got something in the oven. Do another tray that goes in the oven as well. It's got all veg in it. So easy, chopping and peeling, but it doesn't have to be at mealtime. So chop and peel at a different time. So it could be, right, oh, what am I going to do now before I'm going to sit down in 20 minutes, but just before I sit down, you've already had your dinner, so you're not hungry. Let me just peel a couple of veg before I clean the kitchen. Let me just peel a couple of veg for tomorrow. And then you're going to pop those in a container and you can roast them when the oven's on tomorrow. Dead easy way of adding extra veg. Another one is when there's time on a weekend or when there's time for you, just a little bit of time, could you make a big batch of coleslaw yourself? You're going to shred some carrots, some cabbage, some onion, put it all in a container. Don't add mayo just yet because it keeps if you don't add anything to it. Put it all in a Tupperware in the fridge. You've got your coleslaw made for a week. You can add coleslaw to any lunch, any sandwich, any soup. You can add a little bit of coleslaw and then you can stir in your mayo or your dressing when you need it. So that's a couple of tips getting extra veg in. Also, hummus is a great way to fit in extra veg because you can then dip celery, carrots, peppers into the hummus. And short-bought hummus is fine. I like to make my own, but you can just buy a thing of hummus and dip some celery in it and you add in extra. I'm not asking you to swap your lunch for celery. I'm saying have it as an extra snack. Yeah. So does that feel like a couple of ideas for now to add in good veg, extra veg? Great. So anybody else want to share? Rosie, I'm going to try to eat more consciously and become more in tune with my body wisdom. Yeah. It's a journey. We're not going to suddenly get amazingly in tune and conscious overnight, but just a few moments each day to just tune in to how your body's feeling and what it is you want. And who has a breathing practice? Who does a breath practice or a meditation or at least knows of one? Yeah, you've been taught one. Do that breathing practice while you think about the next thing you're going to eat. Okay. Yes. So everybody has something that they can do. That is marvelous, my darlings. So let me just pop back to the slide. So in the last 5 minutes, I would love to just talk to you about taking this journey further. Should you feel at any point you are ready to go further with this. So how would it feel if you could feel completely at peace with food and actually really love eating for health? And I mean, really want to eat for health rather than think you should, to break through all the confusion and to feel completely empowered in your life with every food choice you make, completely empowered to choose whatever you want, whether that's the indulgent stuff and you have that guilt-free, or whether it's the 80%, which is eating for health. To forget about dieting forever. If weight is a concern for you, that's going to happen naturally. Don't worry about that. How would that feel? Just give me a show of thumbs. Great, right? It would feel great. Well, I can tell you that that is there for you as it is for everybody who's come through this program. And the program that I coach is based upon the program that I did. So it's exactly the same steps as the program that I did to get my transformation in 90 days. But it's got the added benefit of me coaching it. And so with me coaching it, it makes it completely doable with all the practical tips, all the mindset stuff, rather than it just be a follow these steps, 13 weeks, 1 step a week, rather than just telling you go and follow. This is me guiding you through it. Okay, so that's why I call it the Eat Well, Feel Great 90-day health transformation rather than the Wild Fit 90-day challenge, because it's got me wrapped all around it. Does that make sense? So you can by all means go and find out more about Wild Fit, but when I coach the program, it's a very different experience that is going to help you with every aspect of the program. So how does it work? We start by getting you properly nourished, adding in more of the good stuff, right? And we're going to go deep into that. So properly nourished in many, many ways, emotionally, nutritionally, hydration, you name it. Each week, there's going to be one doable change, okay, each week. So we start with where you are now, and each week we build upon the change that we made last week. So it's so doable. Positive psychology, always, always. I'm hoping this is coming through in my language. It's non-judgmental. It's always positive. I can put a positive spin on anything. So what that means is you can't fail, because anything that you might call a slip up, I make a great opportunity for learning, right? So it's positive all the time, no matter how challenging it gets. Real foods, as clearly is coming across now. Every time you make a change, you will feel better. You will notice how that one change has improved things for you, and you won't want to go back. You'll never go hungry is certainly not a deprivation diet. There's always plenty to eat. Okay, so don't worry about that. We don't do low fat. We don't do calorie counting. We don't do portion control. I know some of you feel you need portion control, but that's another thing that comes naturally. It will come naturally when you tune into your 6 different types of hunger. Okay, so we're going to coach each of those 6 different types of hunger in depth over the course of 13 weeks. Typical benefits, and this is the lovely Angie, who Barbara and I had lunch with last week. Angie's just one example, and there's not many people who actually give me a full body photograph at the end of their program, but Angie is one that did, so that's why I've chosen Angie. But these benefits are the typical benefits that people see at the end of my 90-day challenge, and that is energy, weight release. Yeah, average 21 pounds. I know it feels unbelievable. That's okay if you need to drop out, no problem at all. Thank you for your kind words, Amanda. Lovely to see you. The average is 21 pounds, and we don't focus on weight. I get you to stay off the scales and forget about it. And yet when you weigh in at the end, and I do the figures in my spreadsheet, the average comes out at 21 pounds every single time. Some people have less to release and some people have more to release. So that figure can be much higher. And for those who are already very slender or don't have any weight to release, it can be, much, much lower. It's an average. Sleep improves for everybody who says they have sleep issues. Everybody says they found an improvement in their sleep. There's many different reasons for that, which I won't go into now. Reduce joint pain and stiffness. I can't go on about that enough. Biddy, how much did your joint pain and stiffness improve when you did the challenge? You were in my first intake. I hope you don't mind me telling people that.
Sorry, yeah, no, that's fine. I had kind of a type of long COVID where I had arthritis in my whole body and it was absolutely everywhere and I couldn't do anything. And it completely went. I mean, in 90 days, completely went. And I had been on loads of drugs and anti this and anti that, and none of them really worked effectively. So, yeah.
Thank you for that, because I always think of you when I talk about joint pain and stiffness. Your complete turnaround was just remarkable. So thank you so much. And a lot of people, most people say this. I don't think I've had anybody that said they didn't reduce their joint pain and stiffness. It's remarkable how much it is associated with the food we eat. And we're starting to understand why that is now. So if anybody's ever had tight rings, that's another indication of chronic inflammation. And if anybody's ever had inflammatory conditions of the gut, that's another inflammatory condition. Food will help you get on top of all of that. So it's not a diet, it's not a detox, it's not intended to be short-term. It is a lifestyle re-education. I've said it's impossible to fail. There's nothing special to buy. You don't have to go buy an organic, or organic is better, but you just buy the best quality foods you can. And here are a few of my recent graduates. Barbara's in there, Barbara. So you can see from this that it's not about your weight. There's only 1 or 2 that have even put anything to do with weight loss in there, but everybody lost weight. Yeah, released, I say. Everybody released weight because we don't want it back. When we lose our keys, where are my keys, right? We want to find them again. We release weight permanently. We say thank you to it and goodbye to it. So for Mel, she says shape because that was the most magical thing, but actually Mel completely got on top of inflammation and digestive disorders. Lovely to see Helen feeling so alive. And Barbara, a deeper interest in your health, and that journey's continued, hasn't it, Barb? And Chris feels really educated, but again, Chris has overcome some chronic gut disorders. We've got Charlotte there, energy and enthusiasm, and then Angie. So there's just a few. There's a couple more, like I've chosen a couple more remarkable transformations just to inspire you, but I don't want to keep going on and on and on about it. It works. It just works, everybody. So if you are feeling curious about taking the next step, then I'd love to make you an offer, which is to thank you for your engagement and your attendance with me live today. So book a call with me. There's a link there. There's also I'm going to send a link round with the replay. There's a link on my website. You can scan the QR code. That link will take you to booking a call with me. If you want to have a chat, you might not know whether you want to go any further with this, but just book a chat with me. And if you book a chat with me before the weekend, then I will gift you a VIP coaching session on the program as a bonus. So my next class starts at the end of March. That's just under, so that I think that works out as 3 weeks Monday. Can you believe that? End of 25th of March is 3 weeks Monday. Oh my goodness. So that's when we start. And it means that whatever you are looking to achieve, it will be completed before June. You will start to see the benefits before June. So my darlings, do we have any questions on anything I covered, or working with me, or booking a call, or any insights? Would anybody like to share? Have you got something from it today? Yes, great. I'm so glad. So do let me know what you think. Reply to any of my emails. I would love to get your feedback on this masterclass. I would love to get your input into how you think it can be improved. If I missed anything, is there anything else you'd like to know? If you want to know about my freebies, so I've mentioned the 6 human hungers, I've mentioned the emotional eating masterclass, and there's the free call. So absolutely no obligation whatsoever. If you jump on that free call and it's absolutely fine with me whether you choose to work with me or not. Anything I can do to support you, that's why I'm here. Okay, my darlings. So thank you so much for your lovely engagement and presence. Thank you. That's a lovely thing to say, Caroline. And yeah, I'm getting some lovely feedback in the chat. Thank you, my darlings. I really appreciate it. So don't forget to let anybody know who you think might like to come on the 7 o'clock for this. And actually, even if they can't make the 7 o'clock, they'll get the replay just by signing up. So thanks again, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye, darlings. Have a great afternoon.